Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope I'll be having a great weekend. Hope I'll be having a great Sunday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, I know why you're here. You know why you're here. Don't act brand new. It is time for the Week 2 recap. Clap it up. Clap it up. We had not one, but 2 top 13 teams go down this weekend. Obviously, the main storyline is the Florida Gators getting upset by USF. And let's clap it up to USF. I don't want to see anybody joking about, oh my gosh, ha ha ha, you lost to USF. That's funny, but don't discredit USF because I've been trying to tell you this is a solid team, even dating back to years ago. Did you know they gave Alabama with Nick Saban a run for their money? I've been trying to tell you, these USF boys, they're scrappy and nobody wants a piece of them. We're going to talk all about that. You also had Mississippi State, the worst team in the SEC last year, upset the best team in the Big 12 in Arizona State. One of their biggest wins in recent history. What was funny about this one is Arizona State can't blame anybody but themselves. They had this game won at the end, but I guess the defensive coordinator forgot to call prevent defense, and they gave up a touchdown. It was the only thing you couldn't do. Golly, man, what are they doing? And shout out to Florida for losing because it distracted everybody else from all these other top 25 teams struggling. Everyone knows that Clemson was struggling with Troy. At one point in time, they were losing 16-0. But LSU and Georgia also struggled. They looked terrible. They pulled it out, but it was okay. Oregon beat the living crap and snot out of Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State. A 66-burger in a Power 4 game. That is unreal. Arch Manning got back on track, sort of. I take it with a grain of salt because you're playing a nobody. South Carolina, they struggled early on. In Illinois, nobody's talking about them. They're one of my favorite teams in the Big Ten. My sleeper in the Big Ten. I think they got a great shot making the playoff. They just silently beat a decent Duke team. I'm not going to say Duke's good, but they're decent. Beat them by 20-plus points. I'm really high on Illinois. Y'all know this. Florida State, they cruised. And also the game of the night, we got me, Shotgun, versus Oklahoma. And that defense for OU, looking like something serious. Iowa State beat Iowa in the most Iowa State versus Iowa game. 16-13, and what do you know? It came down to a field goal. Game went exactly how I thought it was going to go. Low-scoring affair. Nobody talks about them. Nobody gives them any credit or recognition. I'll continue to do so. Baylor has one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and he proved yet again why he is. Put up 48 on SMU and let an outrageous comeback at the end. Not even overtime, my apologies. Double overtime at that. Ole Miss and the Lane Train barely escape a pretty bad Kentucky team that doesn't even have a quarterback. Y'all remember that Diego Pavia dude that took the world over by storm when he upset Alabama last year because we thought Alabama was really good? Come to find out, they weren't really good last year. Well, he's back to cruising, and he led Vanderbilt to an impressive win on the road at Val-Tech. I think I'm missing a couple more. Missouri, they beat Kansas. We're going to talk all about the games. If you're new here, the premise of this video is relatively simple. We're going to recap them all. Strap in, buckle up, get you a snack, get you popcorn, get you your favorite meal you like to eat when you watch a video, because trust me, I do the same thing, but I'm mad, but I should have crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start out with this, and I'll talk about it briefly. I've had a ton of Alabama fans say, yo, Matt, how come you didn't do a reaction video to the Bama game? And I wasn't even going to talk about them in this video, but let me explain it because I sometimes forget we have new people coming to the channel every single year. Number 1, I do not care about your performance against a cupcake. Number 2, I'm not going to talk about it on the channel. I don't care if you're the number 1 team in the country. You play a cupcake like Ohio State, we're not going to talk about how you did against Graham when you're supposed to beat them by 100. Same thing with Alabama. I do kind of get it. Everyone wanted to see how Alabama's going to bounce back after the Florida State game, but I'm not going to sit up here and hype up a performance against Louisiana Monroe. I can't do it, and I won't do it. I take all that with a grain of salt. Anybody can look good, even the backup quarterback, even the third stringers, when things are going your way. What I care about is how you look when you're playing a real opponent like a Florida State and things aren't going your way and the pressure is really applied to you. I will give credit to Alabama, and there is something to be said about this. You did what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to beat them by 4,000, and you did, so kudos to you. But I'm not going to sit up here and talk about this game longer than that, and I most definitely wasn't going to make an 8 to 10 minute reaction video on it, because it's Louisiana Monroe, with all due respect. Come on, man. Congrats, I guess. Let's speak on this since we're talking about top teams. Georgia's struggling Austin Peay. I don't care about this. I had a few people tweet at me saying, yo, Matt, you seeing Georgia? Their offense looks terrible. I've seen this year after year after year after year with Georgia. They have this game routinely. They always struggle with some FCS opponent. I don't know what it is. And normally what happens is they'll struggle with an FCS team, and everybody's like, oh, man, maybe they're not that good. If they couldn't move the ball on them, how are they going to move the ball on Tennessee? And they go out there and they look like Georgia. So you know how I just told you with the Alabama game, I take that one with a grain of salt with them winning by 70? Same thing for Georgia. I take them only winning by 20 with a grain of salt. I don't care. They still won. They'll be fine. Maybe if this was I don't know, Florida, I would be concerned with their performance against the FCS school. But a Kirby Smart coach team, are you kidding me? I'm not concerned about them. LSU struggled with Louisiana Tech. I'm chopping that up to hangover performance. We see it all the time with college guys. They won the game. It is what it is. Oregon beat the crap out of Mike Gundy. I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't know this bad. How much longer is Oklahoma State going to ride with Mike Gundy? I don't know. But he's had some really bad losses the past few years. This is not the first time he's gotten beat by 40 or 50 points. And I don't know how you keep putting up with it, because I think Oklahoma State can be a decent college football program. But this right here, it's past embarrassing. It's humiliating. Let's talk about this one, though. Clemson starting out the game down 16-0 against Troy. Shaking my head, shaking my head. Where y'all at, Clemson fans? I've called you the Dabo dinosaurs for 4+ years, and you continue to come in my comment section and say, Matt, you don't know what you're talking about. We're going to shock you this year. We're going to turn it around. And well, what do you know? To me, it looks like you're getting worse. You almost lost to Troy. Where is that home field advantage y'all routinely tell me you have in Death Valley? Hate to be the bearer of bad news. I've said it for years. I'll continue to say it. You don't have a home field advantage. If Louisville can walk into your stadium and clobber you, it wasn't even close. They clobbered you last year. You don't have a home field advantage. Sorry, I'm not sorry, pal. Troy walked in there and put up 16 on your noggin before you even put a point on the board. And I don't want to hear any of y'all saying, well, Matt, it was raining. They were playing in the same conditions. That's the most flawed argument of all time. You won the game, cool, whatever, but y'all got two big problems. Dabo the dinosaur and that overrated quarterback that goes by the name of Cade Klubnik. He's not that good. He's all right. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's move along here to this Illinois versus Duke game. Yeah, this was a real football team. Illinois, not a flashy football team. Some may say, Matt, they're extremely boring to watch, and I agree. But they play sound football, and they are not, let me repeat that, they are not going to beat themselves. You know what happened in this game? They were just hanging in there, and they let Duke make all the mistakes, where that was muffing a punt, throwing an interception, fumbling it. And that's what happened in Illinois. They took advantage of the 5 Duke turnovers and won 45-19. I love how Illinois plays. They're run, and Luke Altmaier, when you need him to make a big throw, more times than not, he makes it. I get it. They are not a trendy team. It's not something that really excites you. But as it stands right now, I think they are a legitimate playoff team. I was impressed with Illinois. And when you think of this team, you think of, oh, yeah, Brett Bielema, they're going to run the ball for 250, 300 yards. And if you look at the final score, you're probably thinking, oh, yeah, they probably had maybe even 350 or 400 yards. But that wasn't the case. They were off on the ground. They averaged, listen to this, less than 3 yards per carry, 2.9 to be exact. They won this game because of Altmaier. He had 296 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 INTs, QBR of 85.9. That's great. Last year, Illinois was like, yeah, we'll rely on Altmaier if we need to. But now it's a want to. They can do either or. They can pass it or run it. And I think that makes them dangerous. So big shout out to Illinois. Let's get into this Florida versus USF one. I wish I could sit up here and say I'm shocked, but I'm not. If you saw my preview/prediction for this game, I tried warning Florida fans. USF is a solid team. I thought heading into the game, they should have been a top 25 team. They were in my top 25. I digress. It's not a team you should take lightly. They have the talent to beat you, not compete, but beat you. And they have one of the best young head coaches on college football, Alex Golesh. And we haven't even mentioned the big X factor in all of this. They have what I label as the mini Cam Newton as their starting quarterback, Byron Brown. And when you take everything into account, what I just said, the mini Cam Newton, good young head coach who has a fire inside of him, unlike Billy Napier. I'll get to that in just a second. And the team that has the talent to at least match up with Florida, it is a recipe for disaster if you're an opposing team. Because USF was playing with house money. They already upset a top 25 team last week. They're not supposed to win this game, so they had nothing to lose. Florida, on the other hand, phew, they had everything to lose. They was the ones feeling the pressure, and you saw it in the game. USF, they score a touchdown. They're up 13-9. They get a stop and force a punt. Is it Billy Napier's fault that the long snapper snapped it over the punter's head and they get a safety? No, absolutely not. I don't care what you say about Billy Napier. That's on a long snapper. But you know what is his fault? Not burning timeouts at the end of the game. You know what is his fault? Clock management. You know what is his fault? When you have the ball, you're up 16-15 against USF, and you can't ice the game. Billy Napier coaches like he is scared to lose, which he probably is, but you can't coach that way. Goalish, on the other hand, coaches like, he wants to win. Byron Brown did Byron Brown things, took great care of the ball, was a better passer tonight than what I thought he was going to be, and he made some big-time runs when they needed him to. On the flip side for the Gators, Lagway, I know everybody's ragging on him, but he didn't play a bad game. Outside of the interception, he was all right. Here's the big problem with Florida. Their offense sucks. The play calling sucks. Everything about it sucks. But Lagway does not suck. He's just in a terrible position. Florida also had, was it 2 or 3 touchdowns called back? That hurts you. I hate to sit up here and discredit South Florida. I'm not. But Florida, they gifted them the game. And here's what I'm talking about. I'm not discrediting them. Shout out to South Florida for capitalizing on the opportunities. South Florida had to punt the ball back to Florida. And then guess what happened? Florida didn't do anything with it, but South Florida, they got the stop. And guess who went down, what was it, like 60, 70 yards and got in perfect field goal position? It was like an extra point. South Florida, they did that. I'll give it to you long story short. Florida was terrible at executing. You know who wasn't? South Florida. They executed flawlessly when they needed to. Big win for the Bulls. Let's talk about this one a little bit. Baylor upsets and beats the overrated Rhett Lashleys. What about that one? That was a barn burner. Sawyer Robertson was playing out of his mind. That Baylor defense, they are still as awful as they were last year. I think now in 2 games they're averaging, giving up like 40-plus points per game. But Robertson, 440 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 INTs, QBR of 92. What more do you want out of your starting quarterback? SMU missed not 1 but 2 field goals at the end of the game, and Baylor in double overtime, they didn't even have to score a touchdown. They were just, all right, we're going to kick a field goal, and that's what they did. Ole Miss in the lane train, yeah, didn't look so good, but to be honest, there's just something about Kentucky. They have Ole Miss's number. They always play them tough. They always play them hard, and anytime an SEC team struggles against Kentucky, especially at Kentucky, I don't really try to put too much weight into it because Kentucky, they try to limit the possessions, milk the clock, do all that nice stuff. They do a good job of playing their brand of football, and the game shouldn't even been this close because Kentucky's offense was abysmal, and they're sugarcoating it. Ole Miss's quarterback Austin Simmons gifted Kentucky 10 points to start the game with the interceptions in the first quarter. And once he quit throwing interceptions, what do you know, Ole Miss, they jump it on top and they never look back. I didn't even think for a split second Kentucky could pull this off just due to their quarterback play was that bad. They couldn't even get a first down, guys. It was, if you didn't watch this game, you don't even understand it. I'm not going to sit up here and really hype up this win, but at least you beat Kentucky this year, Ole Miss. Last year, you lost to them at home. Vanderbilt in the fight and Diego Pavias pulled this one out. I'm going to go back to this in my preview. I stated this word for word, bar for bar. I have no idea why Virginia Tech's favored. How were they favored heading into this game? They have the worst quarterback in this game. Diego Pavias far better than Kyron Jones. And also, Vanderbilt is I'm not going to say a really good team, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving like a 6. I think they're slightly above average. I can't for the life of me, sorry I'm harping on it, figure out why Tech was favored. I guess because they were at home, but I don't know. I'd pick Vanderbilt every single day of the week to beat Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech, believe it or not, was up in this game 20-10, but guess what happened? Their offensive line happened. They were pitiful. It wasn't even Kyron Jones' fault they lost this game, believe it or not, as bad as he played in week 1 against South Kakalaki. The O-line couldn't give him any time. It felt like Vanderbilt actually ran for more yards than what they did. They only rushed for 262, but they really broke this game open in the second half. Pavia did what he normally does, 12 for 18, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did have one uncharacteristic interception, but he made up for it. QBR right at 90. Shout out to Vandy. That's a pretty good performance on the road, and we're really going to find out just how good they are because their next game is against South Kakalaki. I feel like I'm missing a game before I talk about Michigan OU. Oh, yeah, the Nico Amalivias, they lost, and it's funny how they lost because everyone, it's so weird. Not weird, I get it. It's just more so funny. They tune into the UCLA games for one reason now. To hate watch Nico Amalivia. That's it. And ironically enough, guess how UCLA lost the game? UCLA's driving. They're down by 7. They're at like the 25-yard line of, who was it? Who were they playing? Oh, yeah, UNLV. And Amalivia through the game losing interception. Oh, man, I know all the Tennessee fans, they were grinning ear to ear. Really sad situation there because I don't even think UCLA is going to make a bowl game this year. And meanwhile, Tennessee is arguably going to make the playoff again. But like my grandmother always told me, you reap what you sow, and he most definitely sowed that. Let's get into the game of the night, though. We got Big Bro, a.k.a. Michigan, versus Oklahoma. We got the battle of the star-studded quarterbacks on one hand. We got John Mateer, the Heisman candidate. Some may say the Heisman frontrunner. I wouldn't be opposed to that. On the flip side, you got the $12.5 million Bryce Underwood. And I'll tell you what, partner, it was a different story for both of these guys. Underwood, a night he'd like to forget. Mateer, a night he would like to remember the rest of his life. Of course, we're going to go in detail. I'll show you the stats just to give you some perspective. Underwood, 9 for 24, 142 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 INTs. I will clap it up for him a little bit. I know what you're sitting there saying, Matt, why in the world are you clapping up? Because he took care of the ball on the road. I think that's important. Something to build off of. QBR of right at 40. I'll talk more about that in a second. Mateer, 12 for 34. That's good. 270 through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He overthrew the guy. Not too bad. Made up for it. 79.2 QBR. You'll take that. Also got to take into account he was the leading rusher for Oklahoma in the night. 19 carries, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was a key part, not even just like a small part, a key part of the rushing attack. Michigan's offense was nowhere to be found. The only reason they scored is because they broke a fluky 75-yard touchdown to start the second half. And also, Oklahoma's special teams unit gifted them like 3 to 4 golden opportunities, and they still only got field goals off of that. You take away the 75-yard touchdown and the blunders Oklahoma had on special teams, Michigan doesn't even score a point. Don't let the final score deceive you. This was more so like a 30-point blowout. This was complete domination from start to finish. Talked about this last night in my reaction video. I'm going to say it again. The only, and I mean the only reason Oklahoma didn't beat them by 30 points is because the special teams was arguably the worst special teams performance I've ever witnessed with my 2 eyeballs. It was that bad. And this final score is a testimony of how dominating Oklahoma was, because if you have another special teams performance like that, I don't even know how you keep it within 20 points. Like, you're going to lose, but I don't know how you don't get embarrassed. The fact Oklahoma overcame that pitiful special teams play is something to be talked about. I'll put it to you like this. You keep doing that on special teams, like my grandfather told me growing up. He said, Matthew, you keep playing with that fire, son, you're eventually going to get burnt. Well, same thing's going to happen in Oklahoma. You'll get burnt. I don't know when, but you will. They didn't, though, and shout to them. That's the only bad thing I have to say about them. The offense, they were fine. They were trying to establish a run. Could they have been a little more efficient? Sure, but that's nitpicking. The defense, you could sit up here for 20 minutes and have an endless loop of just me clapping in the background like this. There's nothing I have to say. I'm giving them an A+. No, wait. A+ is perfect. I've never done that on the channel. You know, we're not doing A+. I'll give you an A. There's always room for improvement. I've given you an A. I'm not even going to sit up here and talk about just complete, and I'm talking about complete domination. Oklahoma just looked bigger, faster, stronger, and overall better than the Michigan players. I kind of felt bad for the Michigan O-line and Bryce Underwood because there was nothing they could even do about it. Felt bad for Justice Haynes. Every time he took the handoff, there were 3 Oklahoma defenders in the backfield. There's nothing Michigan can do, and let's not overcomplicate this, guys. Michigan got outclassed. You got pushed around, and this is the best word for it, you got manhandled. You shouldn't even have been in the game. You couldn't run the ball. You couldn't do anything on offense. Let's talk about Bryce Underwood a little bit. Don't let this 9 for 24 deceive you. He didn't play bad. Your casual fans are going to say he played bad, he's terrible. No, he didn't. He played just fine. When you have people in your face as soon as you hike the ball, I don't care if you're Tom Brady, you're not going to have a good night. You also got to take into account Michigan. They never cut them loose. And maybe a reason they didn't cut them loose is because the offensive coordinator knew if they designed all these pass plays for him, they wouldn't have time to protect them. I'm sure that may have went into it, but I would like to see them earlier in the game, not in the second half when they know you're going to throw the ball, but earlier in the game, let him take some deep shots. And not just some, but a lot. Show to Oklahoma and prove to them, hey, we'll throw it over your head, so you better not put 6 or 7 or 8 guys in this box. That's pretty much it. You can't score, you can't win. Defensively, Oklahoma, they weren't really struggling with the Michigan offense, and Mateer, he's a special player. He was the best player on the field, and he most definitely proved that tonight. There's many more things I could say. We're going to end it off here. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts on us down below. But oh, wait a minute. I just realized as I ended up this video, Army beat Kansas State. Is it really worth talking about? Not really, because Kansas State is booty cheeks this year, but shout out to Army. Can't forget to mention them.